And he heard the words of Laban's sons, saying, Yaakov has taken away all that was of Abbas, and of that which was of Abbas has he gotten all his tiferet. And Yaakov beheld the face of Laban, and see, it was not towards him as before. And Yahuwah said to Yaakov, Return to the land of your avot, and to your mishpacha, and I will be with you. And Yaakov sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field to his flock. And he said to them, I see your Abba's face, that it was not toward me as before, but the Elohim of my Abba has been with me. And you know that with all my power I have served your Abba. And your Abba has deceived me, and changed my wages 10 times, but Elohim did not allow him to hurt me. When he said, The speckled cattle shall be your wages, then all the cattle bore speckled. And when he said so, the ring streak shall be your hire, and all the cattle bore ring streak. So Elohim has taken away the cattle of your Abba and give them to me. And it come to pass at the time that the cattle conceived, that I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream, and see, the rams that leaped upon the cattle were ring streak, speckled, and grizzled. And the Malach Elohim spoke to me in a dream, saying, Yaakov. And I said, Hineni. And he said, Lift up now your eyes, and see, all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring streak, speckled, and grizzled. For I have seen all that Laban does to you. I am the El of Bethel, where you anointed the pillar, and where you vowed a vow to me. Now arise, get out from this land, and return to the land of your mishpacha. And Rachel and Leah answered and said to him, Is there any portion or inheritance for us in your Abba's bait? Are we not counted as Gorim by him? For he has sold us, and has fully devoured our money also. For all the riches that Elohim has taken from our Abba, that is ours and our children. Now then, whatever Elohim has said to you, do. Then Yaakov rose up and set his sons and his wives upon camels. And he carried away all his cattle and all his items that he had gotten, the cattle of his labor, which he has gotten in Padan Aram, to go to Yitzhak his Abba in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her Abba's. And Yaakov went away without telling Laban the Aramean. In that he told him not that he fled. So he fled with all that he had, and was up and passed over the river, and set his face towards Mount Gilead. And it was told to Laban on the 3rd Yom that Yaakov had fled, and he took his brothers with him. And he pursued after him 7 yamim journey, and they overtook him in the Mount Gilead. And Elohim come to Laban the Aramean in a dream by Lala, and said to him, Take heed that you speak not to Yaakov either good or bad. Then Laban overtook Yaakov. Now Yaakov had camped his tent in the mount, and Laban with his brothers camped in the mount of Gilead. And Laban said to Yaakov, What have you done, that you have gone away without telling me, and carry away my daughters as captives taken with a sword? Why did you flee away secretly and deceive me, and did not tell me, so that I could send you away with Simcha, and with Shirim, and Tabret, and harp? And you have not allowed me to kiss my sons and daughters. You have now done foolishly in so doing. It is in the power of my hand to do you harm. But the El of your Abba's bait spoke to me last Lala, saying, Take heed that you speak not to Yaakov either tov or bad. And now you have gone, because you greatly long for your Abba's bait. But why have you stolen my Elohim? And Yaakov answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid, for I said, Suppose you will take by force your daughters from me. With whoever you find your Elohim, let him not leave. Before our brothers discern what it is, and is it mine, and take it with you. For Yaakov knew not that Rachel had stolen them. And Laban went to Yaakov's tent, and to Leah's tent, and to the 2 female Avadim's tents, but he found them not. Then he went out of Leah's tent, and he entered into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel has taken the images, and put them in the camel's furniture, and sat upon them. And Laban searched the entire tent, but found them not. And he said to her Abba, Let it not displease my master that I cannot rise up before you, for the custom of women is upon me. And he searched, but found not the images. And Yaakov was angry and contented with Laban. And Yaakov answered and said to Laban, What is my trespass? What is my sin, that you have so hotly pursued after me? Why you have searched all my items? What have you found from all your household items? Set it here before my brothers and your brothers, that we might judge between us both. These 20 years have I been with you. Your ewes and your female goat have not cast their young, and the rams of your flock have I not eaten. That which was torn of beast I brought not to you. I bore the loss of it, and of my hand did you require it, whether stolen by Yom or stolen by Lila. So I was. In a Yom the drought consumed me, and the frost by Lila, and my sleep departed from my eyes. Therefore have I been 20 years in your bait. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your cattle, and you have changed my wages 10 times. Except the Elohim of my Abba, the Elohim of Abraham, and the fear of Yitzhak had been with me, surely you would have sent me away now empty. Elohim has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked you last Lila. And Laban answered and said to Yaakov, These daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these cattle are my cattle, and all that you see is mine. What can I do this Yom to these my daughters, or to their children which they have borne? Now therefore come, let us make a brit, you and I. Let it be for a witness between you and me. And Yaakov took a stone and set it upon a pillar. And Yaakov said to his brothers, Gather stone, and they took stones and made a heap, and they did eat there upon the heap. And Laban called it Yegar Sahaduta, and Yaakov called it Galed. And Laban said, This heap is a witness between you and me this Yom. Therefore was the name of it called Galed. And Mitzpah, for he said, Yahuwah watch between you and me when we are absent from one another. If you shall afflict my daughters, or you shall take other wives beside my daughters, no man is with you. See, Elohim is witness between you and me. And Laban said to Yaakov, See this heap, and see this pillar, which I have set between you and me. This heap be a witness, and this pillar be a witness, that I will not pass over this heap to you, and that you shall not pass over this heap and this pillar to me for harm. The Elohim of Abraham and the Elohim of Nahor, the Elohim of the Abba, judge between us. And Yaakov swore by the fear of his Abba Yitzhak. Then Yaakov offered sacrifice upon the mount, and called his brothers to eat lechem. And they did eat lechem, and stay all Lila in the mount. And early in the morning Laban rose up and kissed his son and his daughters and blessed them. And Laban departed and returned to his place. And Yaakov went on his way, and the heavenly Malachim of Elohim met him. And when Yaakov saw them, he said, This is Elohim's army. And he called the name of that place Mechanaim. And Yaakov sent messengers before him to Esau his brother to the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, So shall you speak to my master Esau. Your Eved Yaakov says this, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and donkeys, flocks, and male avadim and female avadim. And I have sent to tell my master that I might find favor in your sight. And the messengers returned to Yaakov, saying, We come to your brother Esau, and also he comes to meet you, and 400 men with him. Then Yaakov was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that were with him, and the flocks and the herds and the camels, into 2 camps group. And he said, If Esau comes to the one camp and smite it, then the other camp that is left shall escape. And Yaakov said, O Elohim of my Abba Abraham, and Elohim of my Abba Yitzhak, Yahuwah who said to me, return to your country and to your mishpachah, and I will deal well with you. I am not worthy of the least of all the chesed and all the emet which you have sworn to your Eved, for with just my staff I have passed over this Jordan, and now I have become 2 camps of people. Please deliver me from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the Ima of my children. And you did say, I will surely do you tov, and make your zerah as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. And he lodged there that same Lala, and took of that which came to his hand as a present for Esau his brother, 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 male camels with their colts, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 fowls. And he delivered them into the hand of his avadim, every drove by themselves, and said to his avadim, go ahead of me, and put a space between drove and drove. And he commanded the foremost, saying, when Esau my brother meets you and asks you, saying, whose are you, and where are you going, and whose are these before you? Then you shall say, they are your Eved Yaakov's. It is a present sent to my master Esau, and see also Yaakov is behind us. And so in like manner he commanded the second and the third, and all that followed the droves, saying, in this manner shall you speak to Esau when you find him, and say also, see, your Eved Yaakov is behind us. For he said, I will appease him with the present that goes before me, and after that I will see his face. I suppose he will then accept me. So the present went before him, and he himself lodged Delilah in the company. And he was up Delilah, and took his 2 wives, and his 2 female avadim, and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Yavok. And he took them and sent them over the brook, and sent over what he had. And Yaakov was left alone. And there was so a man with Yaakov until the breaking of the Yom. And when the men saw that he prevailed not against him, the men touched the hollow of Yaakov's thigh, and the hollow of Yaakov's thigh was out of joint. And as the Son of Man was so with Yaakov, and the men said, let me go, for the Yom breaks. And Yaakov said, I will not let you go except you bless me. And the men said to Yaakov, what is your name? And he said, Yaakov. And the men said, your name shall no longer be called Yaakov, but Yisrael. For as a Tsar you have power with Elohim and with men, and have prevailed. And Yaakov asked him and said, please tell me your name. And he said, why is it that you ask about my name? And he blessed him there. And Yaakov called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen Elohim Panaim El Panaim, and still Machaim has been preserved. And as he passed over Peniel, the Shemesh rose up upon him, and he leapt in his hip. Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrunk, that is upon the socket of the thigh, to this Yom, because he touched the socket of Yaakov's thigh in the sinew of his hip. And Yaakov lifted up his eyes and looked, and see, Esau came with him 400 men. And he divided the children to Leah and to Rachel and the 2 handmaids. And he put the handmaids and their children in the front, and Leah and her children after them, and Rachel and Yosef in the back. And he passed over before them, and bowed himself to the ground 7 times, until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran to meet him, and embraced him, and fell on his neck, and kissed him, and they wept. And Esau lifted up his eyes, and saw the woman and the children, and said, who are those with you? And Yaakov said, the children that Elohim has by his unmerited favor given to your Eved. Then the handmaids came near, and they and their children, and they bowed themselves. And Leah also with her children came near, and bowed themselves. And after came Yosef near with Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said, what do you mean by all this company that I met? And Yaakov said, "These are to find favor in the sight of my master." And Esau said, "I have enough, my brother. Keep what you have for yourself." And Yaakov said, "No, please. If I now have found favor in your sight, then receive my present from my hand, because I see your face towards me, as though I have seen the face of Elohim, and you were pleased with me. Please take my bracha that is brought to you, because Elohim has dealt with me through unmerited favor, and because you have enough." And he heard him, and Esau took it. And he said, "Let us take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before you." And he said to him, "My master knows that the children are tender, and the flocks and the herds with young are with me. If men should overdrive them one yom, all the flock will die. Please let my master pass over before his eved." And I was journeying on gently, according to the pace of the cattle that goes before me, and the pace that the children are able to endure, until I come to my master to Seir. And Esau said, "Let me now leave with you some of the flocks that are with me." And Yaakov said, "What need do I have for them? Let me find favor in the sight of my master." So Esau returned that yom on his derech to Seir. And Yaakov sojourned to Sukkot and built himself a bait and made booths for his cattle. Therefore the name of the place is called Sukkot. And Yaakov came intact and healed to a city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan. And he came from Padam Aram and camped his tent before the city. And he brought a parcel of a field where he had spread his tent at the hand of the children of Hamor, Shechem's Abba, for 400 pieces of money. And he erected there an altar and called it El Elohei Yisrael. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, who she bore to Yaakov, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, Sar of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and defiled her. And his being did cleave to Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. And he loved the young girl and spoke kindly to the young girl. And Shechem spoke to his Abba Hamor, saying, "Get me this young girl to be my Isha." And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his silence until they had come. And Hamor the Abba of Shechem went out to Jacob to commune with him. And the son of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it, and the men were grieved, and they were very angry, because they had wrought folly in Israel in lying with Jacob's daughter, which thing should not to be done. And Hamor communed with them, saying, "The being of my son Shechem longs for your daughter. Please give her to him to be his Isha, and make many marriages with us, and give your daughters to us, and take our daughters to you. And you shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade in it, and get possessions in it." And Shechem said to her Abba and to her brothers, "Let me find favor in your eyes, and what you shall say to me I will give. Ask me much dowry and gift, and I will give it according as you shall tell me. But give me the young girl to be my Isha." And the sons of Yaakov answered Shechem and Hamor his Abba deceitfully, because he had defiled Dinah their sister. And he said to them, "We cannot do these things, to give our sister to one that is not performed with mullah, for that will be a reproach to us. But in this request we will consent to you. If you will be as we are, that every male of yours perform with mullah, then we will give our daughters to you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. But if you will not listen to us to perform with mullah, then we will take our daughter, and we will be gone." And the words pleased Hamor and Shechem, Hamor's sons. And the young man did not hesitate to perform with mullah, because he delighted in Jacob's daughter, and he was more honorable than all in the bait of his Abba. And Hamor and Shechem his son came to the gate of the city and communed with the men of their city, saying, "These men are in Shalom with us. Therefore let us dwell in the land and trade in it. For look at the land. It is large enough for them also. Let us take their daughters to us for our wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only in this manner will the men consent to dwell with us, to be one people. If every male among us perform brit milah as they are in brit milah, shall not the cattle and the substance and every beast of theirs become ours? Only let us consent to them, and they will dwell with us. And to Hamor and to Shechem his son, listen all that went out to the gate of his city. And every male performed brit milah, including all that went out of the gate of his city. And it came to pass on the 3rd year, when the men were still sore, that 2 of the sons of Yaakov, Shimon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took each man his sword and came upon the city boldly and killed all the males. And they killed Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's bayit and went out. The sons of Yaakov come upon the slain and plundered the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep and their oxen and their donkeys, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and the wives they took captive, and plundered even all that was in the bayit. And Yaakov said to Shimon and Levi, You have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and kill me, and I shall be destroyed, I and call Beit Israel. And they said to Yaakov, Should he deal with a sister as with a harlot? And Elohim said to Yaakov, Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar to El, and I appeared to you when you fled from the face of Esau your brother. Then Yaakov said to his household, to all that were with him, Put away the strange Elohim that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments. And let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar to El, who answered me in the yom of my distress, and was with me in the derech which I went. And they gave to Yaakov all the strange Elohim that were in their hands, and all the earrings that were in their ears, and Yaakov hid them in the oak which was by Shechem. And they journeyed, and the terror of Elohim was upon the cities that were around them, so that they did not pursue after the sons of Yaakov. So Yaakov come to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar to YAHUAH, and called the place El Bethel, because there Elohim appeared to him, when he fled from the face of his brother. But Deborah, Rivkah's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Bethel under an oak. And the name of it called Alon Bahut. And Elohim appeared to Yaakov again, and he came out of Padam Aram and blessed him. And Elohim said to him, Your name is Yaakov. Your name shall not be called any more Yaakov, but Yisrael shall be your name. And he called his name Yisrael. And Elohim said to him, I am El Shaddai. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation Goy and a congregation of nation Kahal Goyim shall come from you, and Melechim shall come out of your loins. In the land that I gave Abraham and Yitzhak, to you will I give it, and to your Zerah after you will I give the land. And Elohim went up from him in the place where he talked with him, and Yaakov set up a pillar upon the place where he talked with him. Every pillar, even pillar of stone, and he poured a drink offering on it, and he poured oil on it. And Yaakov called the name of the place where Elohim spoke with him Bethel. And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was a little way to go to Ephrat. And Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. And it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said to her, Fear not, you shall have this son also. And it came to pass, as Chaim was living, for she died, that she called his name Ben-Oni, but his Abba called him Benjamin. And Rachel died and was buried on the way of Ephrat, which is Bethlehem. And Yaakov set a pillar upon her grave, and that is the pillar of Rachel's grave to this yom. And Yisrael journeyed and spread his tent beyond the tower of Edar. And it came to pass, when Yisrael dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah his Abba's concubine, and Israel heard of it. Now the sons of Yaakov were 12, the sons of Leah, Reuben, Yaakov's Bachor, and Shimon, and Levi, and Yehudah, and Issachar, and Zebulun, and the son of Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin, and the son of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan, and Naphtali, and the son of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad, and Asher. These are the sons of Yaakov, who were born to him in Padan Aram. And Yaakov came to Yitzhak his Abbas at Mamre, to the city of Arba, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned. And the Yamim of Yitzhak were 180 years. And Yitzhak gave up the Ruach, and died and gathered to his people, being old and full of Yamim, and his sons Esau and Yaakov buried him. Now these are the generation of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives of the daughter of Canaan, Adea the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Aholibamah the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite, and Bashemat, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Neviot. And Adea bore to Esau Eliphaz, and Bashemat bore Reuel, and Aholibamah bore Yeush, and Ya'alam, and Korach. These are the sons of Esau, which were born to him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wife and his sons and his daughters and all the persons of his bayit, and his cattle and all his beasts and all his substance that he had gotten in the land of Canaan, and went into the country away from the face of his brother Yaakov. For the riches were more than what would allow them to dwell together, and the land in which they were Gerim could not bear them both because of their cattle. So Esau dwelt in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And these are the generations of Esau, the Abba of the Edomites, in Mount Seir. These are the name of Esau's son: Eliphaz the son of Ada, the Isha of Esau; Reuel the son of Bashemat, the Isha of Esau. And the son of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bore to Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Ada, Esau's Isha. And these are the sons of Reuel, Nahat, and Zerach, Shammah, and Mizah. These are the sons of Bashemat, Esau's Isha. And these are the sons of Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon, Esau's Isha. And she bore to Esau Yeush, and Ya'alam, and Korach. These were the chiefs of the sons of Esau, the son of Eliphaz the Bachor, son of Esau, chief Teman, chief Omar, chief Zepho, chief Kenaz, chief Korach, chief Gatam, chief Amalek. These are the chiefs that came of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. And these were the sons of Ada. And these are the sons of Reuel, Esau's son: chief Naat, chief Zerach, chief Shammah, chief Mizah. These are the chiefs that came from Reuel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Bashemat, Esau's Isha. And these are the sons of Aholibamah, Esau's Isha: chief Reush, chief Ya'alam, chief Korach. These were the chiefs that came from Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, Esau's Isha. These are the sons of Esau, who is Edom, and these are the chiefs. And these are the sons of the seer, the Horites, who inhabit the land: Lotan, and Shoval, and Zibeon, and Anah, and Dishon, and Ezer, and Dishon. These are the chiefs of the Horites, the children of Seir in the land of Edom. And the children of Lotan were Hori and Hemam, and Lotan's sister was Timnah. And the children of Shoval were these: Alvan, and Manahat, and Eival, Shepho, and Onam. And these are the children of Ziveon, both Ayah and Anah. This was the Anah that found the mules in the wilderness, as he fed the donkeys of Ziveon his Abba. And the children of Anah were these, Dishon and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah. And these are the children of Dishon, Emdan, Ishvan, and Itron, and Cheran. And the children of Ezer are these, Bilon, and Zaavan, and Akon. And the children of Dishan are these, Uz and Aaron. These are the chief that came from Horites, Chief Lotan, Chief Shoval, Chief Ziveon, Chief Anah, Chief Dishon, Chief Ezer, Chief Dishon. These are the chief that came from the Horites, among the chiefs in the land of Seir. And these are the Melechim that reigned in the land of Edom. Before there reigned any Melech over the children of Yisrael. And Bela the son of Beor reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinavah. And Bela died in Yovav, the son of Zerah of Bozrah reigned in his place. And Yovav died, and Husham of the land of Temani reigned in his place. And Husham died, and Hadad the son of Bedad, who smote Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his place. And the name of his place was Avit. And Hadad died, and Samlah of Masrekah reigned in his place. And Samlah died, and Shaul of Rehovot by the river reigned in his place. And Shaul died, and Baal Hanan the son of Achbor reigned in his place. And Baal Hanan the son of Achbor died, and Adar reigned in his place. And the name of his city was Paul, and his Isha's name was Meetavel, daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mizav. And these are the names of the chief that came from Esav, according to the Mishpachot, after their places, by their names: Chief Timnah, Chief Alva, Chief Yetet, Chief Aholibamah, Chief Elah, Chief Pinon, Chief Kenaz, Chief Teman, Chief Mivzar, Chief Gadiel, Chief Iram. These are the chiefs of Edom, according to their dwellings in the land of their possession. He is Esav, the Abba of the Edomites. And Yaakov dwelt in the land in which his Abba was a Ger, in the land of Canaan. These are the generation of Yaakov. Yosef, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brothers. And the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zilpah, his Abba's wives. And Yosef brought to his Abba evil reports about them. Now Israel loved Yosef more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brothers saw that their Abba loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak nicely to him. And Yosef dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brothers, and they hated him even more. And when he said to them, "Please listen to this dream that I had dreamed. For see, we were binding sheaves in a field, and see, my sheaf arose and also stood upright, and see, your sheaves stood all around and bowed to my sheaf." And his brothers said to him, "Shall you indeed reign over us? Or shall you indeed have dominion over us?" And they hated him even more for his dreams and his words. And he dreamed another dream and told it to his brother and said, "See, I have dreamed yet another dream. And see, the Shemesh and the Yahayach of the 11 Kochavim bowed down to me." And he told it to his Abba and to his brothers. His Abba rebuked him and said to him, "What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall your Ima and I and your brothers indeed come to bow down to you to the earth?" And his brothers envied him, but his Abba observed the saying. And his brothers went to feed the Abba's flock in Shechem. And Yisrael said to Yosef, "Do not your brother feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send you to them." And he said to him, "Hineni." And he said to him, "Please go and see whether things are well with your brothers and well with the flocks, and bring me word again." So he sent him out of the valley of Evron, and he came to Shechem. And a certain man found Joseph, and he was wandering in a field, and a man asked him, saying, What are you looking for? And he said, I seek my brothers. Please tell me where they feed the flocks. And the man said, They have departed from here, for I heard them saying, Let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brothers and found them in Dothan. And when he saw them far off, even before he came near to them, they conspired against him to kill him. And they said one to another, See, the dreamer is coming. Come now, let us kill him, and cast him into some pit. We will say, Some evil beast has devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hand, and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said to him, Shed no dam, but cast him into a pit that is in the wilderness. Lay no hand upon him, that he might remove him out of their hands, deliver him to his Abba again. And it came to pass, when Joseph came to his brothers, that they stripped Joseph of his coat of many color that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit. And the pit was empty, and there was no mayim in it. And they sat down to eat lechem. And they lifted up their eyes and looked, and see a company of Ishmaelites, and came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spices and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Mitzrayim. And Yehudah said to his brother, What profit is it if we kill our brother and conceal his dam? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brother were content. Then there passed by Midianite traders, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to Ishmaelim for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Joseph into Mitzrayim. And Reuben returned to the pit, and see, Joseph was not in the pit, and he tore his clothes. And he returned to his brother and said, The child is not there, and where shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat, and killed a kid of the goat, and dipped the coat in the dam. And they sent the coat of many color, and they brought it to the Abba, and said, This have we found, and we do not know whether it be your son's coat or not. And he knew it, and said, It is my son's coat. An evil beast has devoured him, and Joseph is without a doubt torn in pieces. And Jacob tore his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for his son many yamim. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, and he refused to be comforted. And he said, For I will go down to Sheol mourning my son. So his Abba wept for him. And the Midianites sold him in Mitzrayim to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard. And it came to pass at that time that Yehudah departed from his brothers, and turned into a certain Adullamite, whose name was Hira. And Yehudah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shua, and he took her and went into her. And she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name And she conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. And she yet again conceived and bore a son, and called his name Shelach. And he was at Kezib when she bore him. And Yehudah took an Isha for his Bachor, whose name was Tamar. And Yehudah's Bachor, was wicked in the sight of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah killed him. And Yehudah said to Onan, Go into your brother's Isha, and marry her, and raise up Zerah for your brother. And Onan knew that the Zerah should not be his. And it came to pass, when he went into his brother's Isha, he spilled it on the ground, lest he should give Zerah to his brother. And the thing that he did displeased Yahuwah, so he killed him also. Then said Yehudah to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, Remain a widow at your Abba's bayit until Shelach my son is grown. For he said, Lest suppose he die also, as his brothers did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her Abba's bayit. And in the process of time, the daughter of Shua, Yahusha's Isha, died, and Yehudah was comforted, and went up to his sheep shearers to Timnath. And he and his chaver Hira the Adullamite. And he was told Tamar, saying, See, your Abba-in-law goes up to Timnath to shear his sheep. And she put her widow's garment off from her, and covered herself with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in the open entrance, which is by the way of Timnath. For she saw that Shelach was grown, and she was not given to him to be his Isha. And when Yehudah saw her, he thought she was a harlot, because she had covered her face. And he returned to her by the way, and said, Please go get ready, let me come in to you. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. She said, What will you give me that you might come into me? And he said, I will give you a kid from the flock. And she said, Will you give me a pledge until you send it? And he said, What pledge shall I give you? And she said, Your signet and your bracelets and your staff that is in your hand. And he gave it to her and came into her, and she conceived by him. And she arose and went away, and removed her veil from her, and put on the garment of her widowhood. And Yehudah sent the kid by the hand of his chaver, the Adullamite, to receive the pledge from the woman's hand, but he found her not. Then when he asked the men of that place, saying, Where is the harlot that was openly by the wayside? And they said, There was no harlot in this place. And we returned to Yehudah and said, I cannot find her. And also the men of the place said, There was no harlot in that place. And Yehudah said, Let her take them for herself, lest we be shamed. See, I sent this kid, and you have not found her. And it came to pass about 3 Chodashim after that it was told Yehudah, saying, Tamar your daughter-in-law has played the harlot. Also, see, she is with child by whoredom. And Yehudah said, Bring her out, and let her be burned. When she was brought out, she sent to her Abba-in-law, saying, By the men whose these are, am I with child? And she said, Please discern whose are these, the signet and bracelets and staff. And Yehudah acknowledged them and said, She has been more tzaddik than I, because that I gave her not to Shelach my son, and he knew her again no more. And it come to pass in the time of her travail that twins were in the room. And it come to pass when she travailed that the one put at his hand, and the midwife took it, and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying, This one come out first. And it come to pass, he drew back his hand, so that his brother come out first. And he said, How have you broken out? This breach is upon you. Therefore his name was called Peretz. And afterward come out his brother, who has the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zerach. And Joseph was brought down to Mitzrayim, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, a Mitzri, brought him from the hands of the Ishmaelites, who had brought him down there. And Yahuwah was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the bait of his master the Mitzri. And his master saw that Yahuwah was with him, and that Yahuwah made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found favor in his sight, and he served him. And he made him overseer over his bait, and all that he had he put into Joseph's hand. And it come to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his bait, and over all that he had, that Yahuwah blessed the Mitzri's bait for Joseph's sake. And the bracha of Yahuwah was upon all that he had in the bait and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not what he had except the lechem that he did eat. And Joseph was handsome in form and appearance. And it come to pass after these things that his master's Isha cast her eyes upon Joseph. And she said, Lie with me. But he refused, and said to his master's Isha, See, my master does not know what is with me in the bait, and he has committed all that he has to my hand. There is none greater in his bait than I, neither has he kept back anything from me, but you, because you are his Isha. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against Elohim? And it come to pass, as she spoke to Joseph yom by yom, that he listened not to her, to lie with her, or to be with her. And it come to pass about this time that Joseph went into the bait to do his duty. And none of the men of the bait were there with him, that she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. and he left his garment in her hand and fled outside. And it came to pass, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and had fled, that she called to the men of her bait, and spoke to them, saying, See, he had brought an ivory to us to mock us. And he came to me to lie with me, and I cried a loud voice. And it came to pass, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and went outside. And she placed his garment by her until his master came home. And she spoke to him according to this word, saying, The ivory Eved, who you have brought to us, came in to me to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his Isha, which she spoke to him, saying, After this manner did your Eved to me, and his anger was lit. And Yosef's master took him and put him into prison, in a place where the Melech's prisoners were bound. And he was there in the prison. But Yahuwah was with Yosef, and showed him rachamim, and gave him favor in the sight of the guard of the prison. And the guardian of the prison committed to Yosef's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whatever they did there, he was his doing. And the guardian of the prison looked not at anything that was under his authority, because Yahuwah was with him. And that which he did, Yahuwah made him to prosper. And it came to pass after these things, that the ruler of the Melech of Mizraim and his baker had offended the master, the Melech of Mizraim. And Pharaoh was very angry against two of his officers, against the chief of the butler and against the chief of the bakers. And he put them in prison in the bait of the captain of the guard, and to the prison, the place where Yosef was bound. And the captain of the guard charged Yosef with them, and he served them. And they continued a season in prison. And they dreamed a dream, both of them, each man his dream in one layla, each man according to the interpretation of his dream. The butler and the baker of the Melech of Mizraim, who were bound in a prison. And Yosef came into them in the morning to check on them and see if they were sad. And he asked Pharaoh's officer that were with him in the prison of his master's bait, saying, Why do you look so sad today? And they said to him, We have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. And Yosef said to them, Do not interpretation belong to Elohim? Tell them to me. And the chief butler told his dream to Yosef and said to him, In my dream, see, a vine was before me, and in the vine were 3 branches, and it was as though it budded, and her blossom shot out, and the cluster of it brought out grapes. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed it into Pharaoh's cup, and I gave the cup to Pharaoh's hand. And Yosef said to him, This is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 yamim. Within 3 yamim shall Pharaoh lift up your head and restore you to your place, and you shall deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand, like in the past when you were his butler. But remember me when I shall be well with you. And Shocheh said to me, And please make mention of me to Pharaoh, and bring me out of this bait. For indeed I was stolen away out of the hand of the Ephraim, and here also have I done nothing, they should put me into the dungeon. When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was stove, he said to Yosef, I also was in a dream, and I had 3 white baskets on my head. And in the uppermost basket there was all manner of baked foods to Pharaoh, and the bird did eat them out of the basket upon my head. And Yosef answered and said, This is the interpretation of it. The 3 baskets are 3 yamim, yet within 3 yamim shall Pharaoh lift up your head from off of you, and shall hang you on an 8th, and the bird shall eat your flesh from off you. And it came to pass the 3rd yom, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast to all his avadim, and he lifted up the head of the chief butler and the chief baker among his avadim, and he restored the chief butler to his butlership again. And he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand, but he hanged the chief baker, as Yosef has interpreted to them. Yet the chief butler did not remember Yosef, but forget him.